As the investigation moved deeper into the underground bunker, every room revealed another unanswered question. The command center looked as though its occupants had simply stood up and disappeared. Maps remained spread across the operations table. Coffee cups sat untouched, and handwritten notes were left exactly where they had been written. Time had preserved the room with unsettling precision. Nothing appeared damaged. Nothing appeared stolen. It was as if the bunker had been waiting for someone to return. Then the investigators noticed a series of unusual calculations scattered across multiple notebooks. Every page contained the same destination, Normandy. The same dates appeared again and again, alongside weather patterns, tidal measurements, and military coordinates. None of the documents explained who had written them or why they had been hidden beneath layers of dust for decades. At the center of the room stood a smooth black machine unlike anything the 1940s could have produced. It had no switches, no markings, and no visible source of power. Yet as the investigators approached, a faint blue light slowly appeared across its surface. Moments later, an old military radio that should have been silent crackled to life, filling the bunker with bursts of static. The atmosphere changed instantly. Every person in the room realized they were no longer examining an abandoned archive. They were standing inside the beginning of a mystery, and beyond a reinforced steel vault waited the first classified files, documents that, in this fictional alternate timeline, seemed to describe history before it happened.
The research team had vanished decades earlier, so who was still inside the final chamber?
The warning alarms echoed through the underground facility as Sarah stood frozen at the entrance to the hidden chamber. The room looked untouched, preserved as though its occupants had expected to return at any moment. Rows of sealed storage units stretched into the darkness, each marked only with numbers instead of names. Most were empty, their doors standing open after decades of silence. But one remained active. A thin layer of frost covered its glass, while a steady green indicator light suggested the chamber had never lost power. Ethan carefully examined the nearby control panel, discovering that someone had continued monitoring the system long after the laboratory was officially abandoned. Then he noticed something impossible. The maintenance log carried entries dated years after the facility had supposedly closed. Someone, or something, had been keeping the chamber alive. Sarah wiped away the remaining frost from the viewing window, but the figure inside was impossible to identify. Before either of them could move closer, every monitor in the room activated simultaneously. A single message appeared across every screen. Authorized access detected. Neither of them had entered a password. Neither of them had touched the controls. Yet the laboratory had recognized their presence. The silence returned. Then, from somewhere deep below the chamber, a slow mechanical sound began to rise. Sarah slowly knelt beside the black archive case, brushing away decades of dust from its smooth metal surface. Unlike every other object inside the laboratory, it showed no sign of age. The hinges were free of rust, the locks looked untouched, and the serial number remained perfectly clear beneath the dim overhead light. Ethan searched the surrounding floor, expecting to find another keycard or security terminal, but there was nothing. The case appeared to have unlocked itself. Taking a careful breath, Sarah lifted the lid. Inside were no syringes, no chemical bottles, and no laboratory samples. Instead, she found hundreds of neatly organized patient files, each sealed inside transparent protective sleeves. Every file carried the same red warning stamp, Confidential, Project Aster, 9. As Ethan opened the first folder, he noticed something deeply unsettling. Every patient's name had been removed. Every photograph had been cut away. Entire pages had been blacked out, leaving only dates, handwritten observations, and one repeated sentence at the bottom of every report. Subject remained stable. Stable from what? No document explained. Before they could examine another file, the laboratory speakers crackled to life. A calm synthetic voice echoed through the empty facility. Archive access confirmed. Recovery protocol initiated. Sarah and Ethan looked at each other in silence. Neither of them had activated anything. Yet somewhere beneath the laboratory, another system had just awakened. Sarah watched as lines of archived data slowly appeared across the old monitor. The system wasn't displaying research results or financial records. Instead, it listed every person who had ever entered the facility. Scientists, security guards, maintenance workers, delivery drivers. Every name was recorded with the exact date and time of arrival. But something immediately stood out. None of the records showed anyone leaving. Ethan searched deeper through the archive until he found the laboratory's final operating day. Dozens of employees had entered the building that morning, yet the exit log remained completely empty. There was no evacuation order, no emergency report, and no explanation. It was as though the facility had simply stopped existing from the outside world. Then another hidden file unlocked automatically. Unlike the others, this one contained no names at all, only a floor plan of the underground complex. Several rooms had been crossed out in red, but one section was circled repeatedly. It was labeled Level 4. Sarah compared the map with the corridor outside. According to the blueprint, they were standing directly above it. Before either of them could speak, the terminal printed a single sheet of paper. Across the top were 6 words that neither investigator expected to read. Access to Level 4 approved.
The investigators realized the facility extended far deeper than anticipated, uncovering a previously unknown sector, Archive 0.